Still covered from my phone.
Where's the microphone on top?
Yeah, by the power button.
I see it. Hey friends, it is Jennifer, or as my life running partner likes to call me, Lunchbox. We are doing separate metal review videos, so my video might be very different from his, but I'm gonna do it my way. So I don't know if he told you how we've organized our medals, but the bottom row, that's half marathons. The middle row, those are marathons, and on the top is just sort of everything else. So I thought I would start my medal review by talking about first races. So the medal, there is no medal for my first race. Our first race was the Young Lawyers 5K in, I want to say 2013. It was my first first race ever, and I think it was the first time I ever ran continuously for any determined amount of time. And I remember running it and thinking that I was so slow. The interesting thing is now that's probably one of my fastest 5Ks. Well, it's not my fastest, but one of my definitely my top best ones. But what I remember about that race is getting to the end and definitely needing to throw up. But my then boyfriend, who I was trying to impress, was at the finish line, and I was not going to stop till I got through. So I got all the way through and was gagging, trying not to throw up. But felt pretty good about that one. So wanted to keep going. He got me into running, kicking and screaming. And so I was like, if I'm going to do this, I want to run races and have like a goal. So then the next race that we did was another first. It was my first 10K. I also don't have a medal. He does because he placed, but that race didn't give a medal. It was down in San Antonio. And again, it was the first race that I ran continuously for that distance. And I remember the whole course. It was great. And I remember texting him something like almost done, or something. Anyway, the way that I texted it, he took it to mean I was stopping and starting. So I get to the finish line. I think it was like a 1:10 10K, which again, not my best 10K, but these days I would love to be running that fast. And I finish and he's like, "Oh, I thought you were stopping and starting." He's like, "No, I ran it continuously." I really, really enjoyed that one. So then my next first takes me to this medal, which is probably the one I'm maybe the most proud of because, again, we signed up for it. We showed up, and my mom came, my sister came, and came to cheer us on. And again, it was the first time that I had ever run that far continuously. And I remember getting to the 10K point and thinking, oh, in that past race, I would be done now. And I was like, oh, I'm so excited. I'm doing great. And then I thought, oh my God, I don't want to keep running. I don't want to do this again. But I kept going. Somehow had this better mental ability to just stay focused back then. I don't know if it was because I just didn't know enough to know that this was stupid, but I kept running. And I remember getting passed by one of the elite marathoners. I was at like mile 7 or 8 and he was at mile like, I don't know, 17 or 18. But I remember getting to the bridge. I remember being so close and having this amazing mental ability. Like I was in so much pain, but I didn't stop. I ran my entire first half marathon without stopping. And it was a good race. Got to go. I had a lot of colleagues at the elementary school I was working at who were running the race, and my assistant principal at the time ran past me, and she goes, "Jennifer, we're wearing." Well, she called me by my last name at the time because that's how teachers talk to each other. She's like, "Hey, jeans on Friday or jeans on Monday. Wear your T-shirt, bring your medal." And so there were like 7 or 8 of us that had run something that weekend in the Woodlands, and we took a picture, and it was just a good memory. So then the second race that we ran after that was this one in Rockwall, the Patriot Half Marathon, and I have really good memories about this one too because I was coming off of the high of having felt really great about this one. I think is that Sweat? Oh, that's even better. It makes it more authentic. So we ran this one in Rockwall, Michael and I, my then boyfriend, and what I remember about this one is twofold. First of all, I think this is the one where we stole signs. I think the statute has run on that because that's 2014. Nobody called police. Because we wanted memories of having done it. And then I actually ran this one slightly faster than that one, ran the whole thing continuously, no problem. Oh, I forgot to mention, I got very, very sick after that one. I think I threw up. and ended up taking a nap in my apartment. And Michael had brought his computer and he did some work, or I'm sorry, writing it. But anyway, like I felt like a badass, but I definitely was laid out for like 3 hours after that one because I wasn't trained for it. But like that's the thing, like that mental ability to keep going when your body's like, you are not ready for this. So anyway, this one ran it faster, great race. And then I remember this one. Honestly, I don't remember it as well, but I think it was kind of during that time, like this whole half marathon season. Through 2014 was just an amazing time because we would go to these races and I had this like I would get nervous and think I couldn't do it, get to a point where I want to stop and then recall important positive memories and like overcome it, and I would run faster. And then we had our first summer that hit and I found out what it means to have to slow down because of the heat. But the jalapeno half, I remember that one was a lot of fun. I definitely had to slow down tremendously on that one. I wasn't heat trained, had no idea that was a thing. At the hottest half, I think I'd learned kind of to take things a little bit slower. The Texas Road Run, this one's in Waco, which is where I went to college. It's very hilly. It was a good race, actually. I don't remember. I bet, I bet if I went back and looked at my journal, I would have specific memories. I can see the course in my head, but beyond that, I don't remember. Now, this one, I remember, Rio San Antonio. I fell twice, drank so much water that I threw up multiple times. Threw up in the elevator on the way up to our hotel, like projectile all over the buttons. I think it's safe to say that like definitely, they say your body gives out before your mind. That is the theme here, because I candidly was not training for these the way I should have been, but I was not going to be, I was going to show up like I was going to impress this dude that for some reason I felt like I needed to just keep up with him. So anyway, that was a good race. I think he placed at that one too. I think he had a certificate and a tile. The Houston Half Marathon. I remember this race specifically. I did not want to go. I wanted to quit. I don't know why I was in such a bad mood, but we got up and we went, and I was just pissed, I was just angry. But by the end of the race, I felt like so glad we did it. I was like just so glad that I finished it. That's all my memory. This race, the Illumination Half, was really great. Again, Michael placed. But it was at night and it was really beautiful. And again, my mind was very, that's actually what I remember is how was I mentally? Was I upbeat and positive and knew I could do it? Or was I like, this is stupid, I can't believe I do this? Obviously the ones where I get upbeat are the races I remember that are the best. So I think that's the end of 2014, unless I'm wrong. No, that had to be because that one was at Christmas. So this is 2015. Wait. Let's see. February 2015, the Texas Half. You know what? Actually, I'm gonna segue and go to another first. So that was the end of 2014. We ran our first marathon in 2015. So this is another first. I did not run this one continuously, but this is probably, I love that marathon. I have these great memories of like mental strength from these races, and like, I'm trying to think, it's Rice Boulevard where you bifurcate. The half marathoners go to the left and the full marathoners go to the right. And you go under these shaded trees by Rice campus. And you all of a sudden you've been barraged by people in costumes, and there's been people lining the streets, and Elvis has been singing to you. But then when you bifurcate and you go off and they go their way, suddenly it gets very quiet. And that's where you have like those moments where you're like, have I made a terrible mistake? Is it too late to turn around? And then shortly after that, you get to the porta potties and you can kind of get yourself back on track. And then after that, you hit the halfway point down by the Galleria. And then you hit that long stretch on Memorial Drive, which is basically mile 17 through like mile 26. Just seriously. So, but I remember being around mile 23 or 24, and I was wearing a yellow running jacket. It was cold that year, and people really were commenting on my jacket, how much they loved it. And I just remember hitting, Allen Parkway, close to when you're coming in the city, and they have those last bit of tents. There's the medical tent, and then the people who've been drinking beer since like 7 o'clock in the morning who are basically done but are happy to, woo you to the finish line because they can't drive anyway. And I just felt this overwhelming sense of gratitude that I was able to do this, and I knew I was close to the finish line. And I finished, I think it was, I want to say 5:30 probably. Anyway, shortly after that, we ran our second full marathon in the Woodlands, which was previously my first half marathon. So the next year we came back and did the marathon. And again, same thing. Felt really great, enjoyed it. Had that rah-rah moment and thinking, oh my goodness, I'm back here, but now I'm doing the full. And then I ran this one, actually, I think this was a 5:15, and this one I was almost under 5 hours. I was really close, and I was like yelling to my then boyfriend, I'm going to be under 5 hours. And I think he said something like, not if you stop. And I wasn't. I think I was like a minute over or something. So that's February of 2015. So then we can come back to, where is it? Texas half. I would like to mention this period of time, not the summer. Let's see. Right here, somewhere right here, I got into law school. No, here, law school. Somewhere around here, he proposed. And then somewhere around here, I started law school. And life got really hard, and I honestly can't believe he's still with me, because I think one of these medals, we'll get to it. But anyway, I stopped. I was training. Like I was still getting up in the morning and running 6 miles, which I could do in an hour. I can't do that now. I know that's pathetic. So I didn't lose a lot of fitness, but it was getting more difficult. So I don't remember the Texas half. I'm sure if I looked up my journal, I would. But I do remember the Katy half. This was the inaugural. We live in Katy now, but this was the inaugural, and it's my fastest half marathon to date. It was my best. I actually ran a negative split and was sprinting to the finish line. I probably was in the best shape of my life here. Now, caveat, I was thinner here. I had found out this. Oh, that's the memory. I remember they weighed you before, and that's when I realized that law school had caused me to gain about 25 or 30 pounds, and I had a panic attack before the race and didn't want to do it, but talked myself into it, ended up having the best marathon of my life. So the interesting thing is, while this was my thinnest, I think this, a few pounds heavier, was my fittest. But that was a great race, and it was my my fastest half marathon at like 2:05. Then we did the Rhythm and Blues in Houston. It was kind of disappointing. It gets a lot of attention, but I think the one in San Antonio is probably better. And then the color half. So are we in 20? Yeah, we're in 2015. So at some point in here, life got really hard, and my relationship with my then boyfriend was not going well. Anyway, things got better, but it took a lot of effort and a lot of like soul searching. And I remember the color half. Yeah. So the color half, I actually placed second in my age group out of 4 women. Or was I third? I think I was third. And the thing about it, I think we'd done a race the day before. Oh, I'm totally neglecting these medals. I'm so sorry, medals. We'd done a race the day before that was really hilly. I think it was the Pandora Box of Rocks. It was just horrible. So I kind of was like, I'll just take it easy here. And then I get to the finish line. He's like, I think you placed. I'm like, stop joking with me. Let's go ride the bus back to our car. He's like, no, I think you placed. There's only 4 women in your age group, and you're, the last one's not in yet. So I had them like mad at myself. My one chance to place first in a small race, and I blew it. So that was the only one I ever placed in. So that's the half marathons. And then I suppose I should segue and look at these. So this is another first, my one and only triathlon. Totally panicked in the water and ended up doing most of the swimming on my back because open water was not my strength, and actually had never done it before. But I finished and felt really great about it, and then never did it again. This is a 10-miler that we did in Conroe. That was a good race. My sister-in-law ran it with us. This is the HMS Classical that we did to get ready for the Houston Marathon. It was just a good race. It was very cold. We're doing it again this year. The 30K is part of a warm-up series. What is this one? Oh, again, to impress my then boyfriend, who was trying to log 1,000 miles that year. I was like, well, I can log something. And you just order these offline, and I think I hit like 550 miles or something. Whatever. The ABB 5K we do the day before the marathon because more medals. There is the extra medal for doing the 5K and the marathon together, and then the rhythm and blues. I forget what that one is. I bet Michael remembers, or right, not whatever he calls himself. But you know some of these are extra medals you get for doing 2 races together. The back country trail run, I remember it. What I remember, I think, is that my headphones broke, and I was running with headphones a lot then, which is not really a good idea. So that takes us to the San Felipe shootout, which was in the spring of 15, right before final exams. And this is where my fitness kind of started to take a dive because I was getting too busy and I really, really couldn't train as much. And I have a tendency to give up. So this is the race, actually, the Big D, I think, is where things started to take a positive turn in terms of like getting my stress under control and paying attention to what mattered and what didn't. But then it was also a dive for, oh no, it would appear. Why is Pandora down here? Because it was a half marathon. Then why am I confusing it with the color run? These are good questions, Jen. Your memory may not be what you thought it was. Well, maybe that wasn't the race we ran before. Maybe it was the backcountry trail run was the one we did before. Anyway, Pandora's Box of Rocks was literally running on giant rocks. And my knees have never hurt that bad. I was supposed to do the full marathon. I quit at the half. I didn't care. The Skyline was fun. It was just another typical fun marathon, a half marathon. I think that course, you find it in a couple other races. But I stayed pretty positive. Enjoyed the race. I don't remember. I think we got a headband. I can see the race party afterward, but this one is interesting because we didn't actually run it on that day. It was Mother's Day weekend in 2015, and it had rained, and Fort Worth was flooding a lot then. So we told them we couldn't come back to Dallas to run it, so they gave us the medal if we promised to do it. So I did it the week after, but I actually ended up being really happy that we didn't have to because somewhere in here, right before finals, I got a UTI that almost turned into a kidney infection, which would have been terrible. Then we started the summer over. There was a running group in Dallas called Melu or something. They don't exist anymore, which is a shame because they put on really good races. I think they went bankrupt. Maybe they put on 2 good races, but this is the Jalapeno Half that we had done previously, the Wildfire, which I don't think we'd done. But anyway, during this time, we were doing the 4 Seasons Challenge, and you can see those 2 medals. You get them if you do, there's the 4 Seasons 1 and 2, so if you do one of their races each season, then you get an extra medal, and we did all 4. And I think we also got a plaque once we'd done the 9th race, but that's probably still packed. So then there's the Tyler Rose Marathon, which is, we finished that one and got one of those medals. Anyway, then we come into where things start to kind of get too tough. So we did 2 back-to-back races. We were supposed to run, so this is interesting. This says South Padre Marathon. I did not finish the marathon. I was not trained. I was starting to really fatigue and just life was too much. And I just cut my race down. And they didn't have extra medals, which is fine. That's not really fair to ask for one. But they gave me a medal, but I did not run the marathon. Then the next day, because that's what we used to do, is run these back-to-back or do bike races back-to-back. We got up and went to Waco and did the Texas Road Route. This one boosted my confidence tremendously until it was pointed out to me that one of the volunteers wasn't directing people, and actually I ran shortly, like not a full half marathon without knowing it, which was frustrating. And then November of 2015, I remember this race because we got there to the expo. We had a lot of fun. What did we have? Olive Garden for dinner. we were just hanging out, you know, like repairing relationships and just getting back to being okay after the law school business. But we did the we did the 5K, then we did the 1K the day before, and then we woke up the next morning, and he rolls over, and it's 4 o'clock in the morning. He goes, I don't want to do the marathon. And I was like, we're in Oklahoma, we have to do the marathon. So I was like, what if we just drop down to the half? And so he was fine with that. We decided to do that, drop down to the half. We got all of our medals. And then on the ride home, when we started talking, and you know, he's like, I'm burnt out, I don't want to do anymore. We had, I mean, you can see this is in 1 year, and that's just the half marathons. There's more up there. And I think we also ran during that time the Irving Marathon. Yeah. Big D, where's Big D? Big D was supposed to be a marathon as well, but we dropped down to the half, which we were allowed to do. They had that as an option. We did it before the race. So we were just really burned out. So we're driving home from Tulsa or wherever, and he's like, I don't want to do it anymore. I'm like, okay, well, let's take a break. Let's absolutely, because I missed my nephew's 5th birthday to go to this one. So we took a break. So 2015, the next half marathon is definitely in 2017. Now, we did do some other things in the interim. We went to the 2016 ABB 5K, which is before the Houston Marathon, but we woke up the next morning and did not go to the marathon, so we skipped 2016. And basically just took a hiatus. So then we've got the warm-up series, and that's where you find us in 2018. We ran the Houston Marathon in 2018. You can see that video if you want. I outran the Sag Wagon. That was kind of my spiel. It was terrible. I think I ran it in 6:30. I just was not trained for that. And then I guess we did one in 2017, the Houston half. Yeah. That would have been part of the warm-up series. So kind of started late in 2017, getting ready for 2018. And then if I'm not incorrect, we did nothing until November of 2018. This time last year, we ran this race. It was so bad. They had a 3-hour cutoff. I was really close to making the 3-hour cutoff, and I got a cramp literally 2 minutes from the finish line. Cursed a lot. The 3-hour pacers passed me. They'd been basically walking the whole time, and I didn't make the cutoff, and it was humiliating. I was also in a job that I kind of hated, and I vowed I'll do better. So 2018. So then I don't know if he told you how he has his medals organized. I have my medals organized by this half is currently this year, and that is everything in the past. So this is 2019. And we've had a pretty good 2019. Oh, I'm wrong. That 2018 one was I missed it by like seconds. The cutoff I did not DNF'd by 6 hours and some seconds. This is the one where I came in 6:30 outrunning the Sag Wagon. So it literally got worse over the course of a year. That's so pathetic. But we've had a good year. We've been running a lot, and a lot of those videos are up. Actually, I'm not even going to go over those because we've done a lot of videos on all of these, so you can see those on the channel. But our next race is next week, the Huntsville Half. Hopefully the temperature stays low. My goal, and I may not reach it, my goal is to beat my time at the Pearland Half Marathon, because earlier this year, this was my fastest half marathon. I felt really good about it. I did end up throwing up in a Pringles can on the way home, and that is what it is. But, I don't have to be perfect or fast to enjoy it, right? I would like to get back to being able to run a 2:05, 2:15 half marathon and a 5. Well, I like to get to a 4:30 marathon, but you can't get better if you don't try. So anyway, that's my medal wall. Thank you for listening. I'm sure that Right Nut did it better, did better justice to it. But yeah, Let me know what you think. If you didn't make it through the video, comment and let me know it was too long, and I will love your comment because I appreciate honesty. But anyway, hope you guys have a great weekend, and we will talk to you later.